There was a time on Earth when the world was unrecognizable, when landscapes were ruled not by animals but by plants unlike anything alive today. Towering organisms without flowers stretched toward a dim, hazy sky. Forests grew dense and silent, filled with shapes that would seem alien to modern eyes. Some of these plants reached impossible sizes, while others survived in conditions that would destroy most life today. And then, slowly or suddenly, they vanished. Entire ecosystems erased, leaving behind only fragments in stone. But what if they hadn't disappeared? What if these ancient plants still existed today? To imagine that world, we have to travel far back in time to an Earth that was still learning how to breathe. Around 470 million years ago, the first plants began to move onto land. Before this moment, life was mostly confined to the oceans. The land was barren, rocky, and hostile. Early plants were small and simple, lacking roots, leaves, or even proper vascular systems. They clung close to the ground, relying on moisture and a thin film of water to survive. Yet these humble beginnings would change the planet forever. Over millions of years, plants evolved structures that allowed them to grow taller, transport water, and anchor themselves into the soil. With these innovations came the first forests. During the Devonian period, roughly 400 million years ago, Earth saw the rise of some of the earliest tree-like plants, such as Archaeopteris. This plant resembled a modern tree in many ways, with woody tissue and branching structures, but it reproduced using spores instead of seeds. It formed vast forests that spread across ancient continents, stabilizing soils and altering atmospheric carbon levels. If Archaeopteris still existed today, forests would look very different. These trees shed massive amounts of organic material, contributing to thick soil layers and influencing carbon cycles in ways modern ecosystems do not. Their presence could potentially accelerate carbon storage, possibly affecting climate patterns on a global scale. Scientists believe that these early forests played a role in reducing atmospheric carbon dioxide, leading to cooler global temperatures. If they were still here, their impact might still be shaping our climate in profound ways. As the Devonian gave way to the Carboniferous period, around 359 to 299 million years ago, Earth entered an age of lush, swampy forests unlike anything that exists today. Oxygen levels in the atmosphere were significantly higher than they are now, sometimes reaching over 30%. This allowed plants to grow to extraordinary sizes. Giant club mosses, horsetails, and ferns dominated the landscape. One of the most remarkable plants from this time was lepidodendron, often called the scale tree. Despite its name, it was not a true tree like those we know today. It belonged to a group of ancient plants related to modern club mosses. Lepidodendron could grow over 30 meters tall, with a tall, unbranched trunk covered in diamond-shaped leaf scars. At the top, it formed a crown of leaves that captured sunlight in dense, humid swamps. If lepidodendron forests still existed today, entire ecosystems would feel otherworldly. These plants reproduced using spores rather than seeds, releasing vast clouds into the air. Their rapid growth and decay contributed to the formation of coal deposits we still rely on today. If they had survived, modern landscapes might include immense swamp forests capable of storing vast amounts of carbon, potentially altering how energy resources formed over time. Another plant from this era, calamates, resembled a giant version of modern horsetails. It grew in dense stands with hollow, jointed stems that could reach heights of over 20 meters. These plants thrived in wet environments, stabilizing riverbanks and floodplains. Their presence helped shape the flow of water across ancient landscapes. If calamates were still around, river ecosystems might function differently. Their ability to grow quickly and dominate wet environments could outcompete many modern plants, potentially reshaping wetlands and influencing biodiversity. Researchers suggest that these ancient plants played a key role in sediment stabilization, and their continued presence could affect erosion patterns and flood dynamics today. But not all ancient plants thrived in swamps. As Earth's climate changed, new types of vegetation began to emerge. Seed plants, including early gymnosperms, evolved the ability to reproduce without relying on water for fertilization. This allowed them to spread into drier environments, opening up new habitats. One such group was the seed ferns, or pteridosperms. Despite their name, they were not true ferns. They produced seeds rather than spores, marking an important step in plant evolution. These plants often had large fern-like leaves, but reproduced in a way more similar to modern seed plants. They formed vast forests that spread across ancient continents, stabilizing soils and altering atmospheric carbon levels. If seed ferns still existed today, they might compete with modern flowering plants in surprising ways. Their combination of large leaf structures and seed-based reproduction could make them highly adaptable. Some researchers believe they might have occupied ecological niches similar to certain shrubs and small trees, potentially altering plant diversity in forests and grasslands. As time moved into the Mesozoic era, often called the Age of Dinosaurs, plant life continued to evolve. Conifers, cycads, and ginkgos became dominant. Among them were plants that still have distant relatives alive today, but their ancient forms were often larger, more widespread, or adapted to different climates. Cycads, for example, were once far more abundant than they are now. These plants have thick trunks and large, feather-like leaves, and they reproduce using cones. During the Mesozoic, cycads formed extensive forests in warm regions. Today, only a small number of species remain, often restricted to specific areas. If ancient cycads still thrived in their original abundance, tropical and subtropical landscapes might look dramatically different. These plants grow slowly but can live for long periods, and their presence could influence soil composition and nutrient cycles. Some cycads also produce toxic compounds, which may have affected herbivorous animals in the past. Their continued existence could shape modern ecosystems in unexpected ways. Another iconic plant from this time is Ginkgo biloba, often referred to as a living fossil. While this species still exists today, its ancient relatives were far more diverse and widespread. Fossil evidence suggests that ginkgo-like plants once covered large parts of the northern hemisphere. If the full diversity of ancient ginkgo species had survived, urban and natural landscapes alike might include a wider variety of these unique trees. Their fan-shaped leaves and resilience to pollution have already made modern ginkgo trees popular in cities. A broader range of species might offer even greater adaptability, potentially influencing how we design green spaces today. Not all ancient plants left behind living descendants. Some vanished completely, leaving only fossilized impressions. One such example is Glossopteris, a seed fern that dominated the southern continents during the Permian period. Its fossils have been found across what are now South America, Africa, India, Antarctica, and Australia, providing key evidence for the theory of continental drift. Glossopteris thrived in a cooler climate than many earlier plants, suggesting it was well adapted to changing environmental conditions. If it still existed, it might play a role in modern ecosystems facing climate variability. But extinction was not random. Many of these plants disappeared during major environmental shifts, including mass extinction events. The end Permian extinction, around 252 million years ago, was the most severe in history. Massive volcanic activity, climate change, and ocean disturbances led to the loss of a large percentage of species, including many plant groups. Later, the rise of flowering plants, or angiosperms, during the Cretaceous period brought another wave of change. These plants evolved new strategies for reproduction, including flowers and fruit, which allowed for more efficient pollination and seed dispersal. Over time, they outcompeted many older plant groups. If flowering plants had not become dominant, modern ecosystems might be far less diverse in terms of fruits and vegetables. Many of the foods consumed today, from apples to grains, depend on angiosperms. Without their rise, human agriculture might look entirely different or may not have developed in the same way at all. There were also ancient fruits and plant structures that no longer exist in their original forms. Early fruit-like structures evolved as a way to protect seeds and encourage animals to disperse them. Some of these were unlike anything seen today, with unusual shapes and compositions. If these ancient fruits still existed, they might offer entirely new sources of nutrition or medicinal compounds.